Is hyperdose corn syrup linked to damaged brain health? A potentially non-reliable source is a blog from Psychology Today called "Is Hyperdose Corn Syrup Bad for the US?" It is not a scientific study. That means that experts didn't check the methods or results, so it's not peer-reviewed, and the author didn't do original research. They just talked about other studies and news, so we can't fully trust them, and some parts could be biased, including authors' opinions and other points, instead of the author just focusing on scientific evidence. So I picked an article from the National Library of Medicine. It was published by PLOS ONE, which is a peer-reviewed scientific journal. That means that other scientists reviewed the study and approved methods and results, so it is trustworthy. The authors are experts in the medical and science research. And the study looks at how sugar affects the brain, which is exactly what my presentation is about. Eating a lot of added sugar, especially from high-fructose corn syrup, is linked to health problems like obesity and diabetes. High-fructose corn syrup is a type of sweetener found in soda, candy, and many other processed foods. Scientists are now finding out that too much sugar might also affect the brain, especially the hippocampus, a part of the brain that helps with memory, learning, and eating. Kids and teens are at higher risk because their brains are still developing at this time. This study looked at whether high-fructose corn syrup could change how certain brain genes work by switching them on and off, which is called epigenetics. The researchers didn't test this on people. They used male rats. They chose rats because their brain development stages are similar to ours. They divided the rats into 3 groups: childhood, teen years, young adults, and older adults. Each group was then split into 2 smaller groups. One group that drank plain water, which was the controlled, and the other that drank high fructose corn syrup, which was the test group. So for 40 days, the rats in the test group drank a sweet liquid that was 20% high fructose corn syrup, while the control group just drank water. And after the 40 days, the researchers studied the rats' brains. They looked at the gene called BDNF, which is really important for keeping the brain cells healthy and helping with learning and memory. They checked how much of the gene was active and how much the protein it made. They also looked at a process called DNA methylation, which is adding a lock to that gene so they can turn it off. And they checked a brain signaling pathway called PAKT, which helps brain cells survive, and they also kept track of the rat's body weight to see if it changed. So even though the high fructose corn syrup rats drank a lot of sugar, they didn't weigh more than the rats that drank the plain water. But when the rats were exposed to the high fructose corn syrup during their youth years, their brains showed big changes. Their BDNF gene was less active, and the brain made less of the BDNF protein. And the signaling pathway that helps brain cells survive also worked less. And on top of that, the BDNF gene had more DNA methylation. And that's like a lock, put it on the gene so it stops it from working properly. So in the adult rats, these changes didn't really happen, so it really showed that the younger brains were a lot more sensitive to this sugar. So the scientists concluded that high fructose corn syrup harms the brain only when the rats are young. It didn't do the same damage in the adults. This shows that the brain is more sensitive while it's still growing, like kids and teens, and they believe there is a critical time in life when sugar can do the most harm in the brain. This is when the sugar does the most harm in the brain. The study also suggests that more research is needed if these brain changes affect learning and memory in real life, and whether the damage can be fixed if the sugar stops. So I chose this topic because my dad is a doctor, and growing up, he always told us not to buy candy or snacks with high fructose corn syrup. And at the time, I didn't fully understand why it mattered so much to him, so I wanted to learn more. This research shows that high fructose corn syrup isn't about just gain weight. It can actually affect the brain, especially for kids and teens. And since it's in so many foods, this is something I feel everyone should care about. Knowing the risks can help people, especially students, make better food choices and protect their health and learning.